Hey guys, welcome to New Review, where we review Wonder Woman. I'm Brandy.
I'm Liz.
And here's your synopsis.
I'm going to be a diva on this one.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh,
So if you're not familiar with Wonder Woman, be prepared. Before she was Wonder Woman, she was Diana, Princess of the Amazons, trained to be an unconquerable warrior, raised in a sheltered island paradise when a pilot crashes on their shores and tells the massive conflict raging on the outside world. Diana leaves her home convinced she can stop the threat. Fighting alongside man in a war to end all wars, Diana will discover her true full powers and her true destiny.
That was baller.
I know!
That was baller. I think you should do this for every movie. Like, just, we need this. A little drama, a little action.
Throw a little accents into it.
Accents are good, yes. So this was directed by Patty Jenkins, who did a fantastic job. You've got Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Diana, Princess of the Mascara. You've got Chris Pine, yet another Chris playing another Steve, but this time he's Steve Trevor. And if you haven't seen it, here's a clip.
The gods gave us many gifts. One day you'll know them all. This is where we keep them.
It's beautiful. Who would wield it?
Only the fiercest among us even could. And that is not you, Diana. You will train her harder than any Amazon before her. 5 times harder. 10 times harder. Never let your guard down. You expect the battle to be fair! Until she is better than even you. But she must never know the truth about what she is.
What is this place? Who are you?
It is our sacred duty to defend the world.
Right. Whoever you are in more danger than you think.
Be careful, Diana.
If no one else will defend the world, then I must.
Welcome to jolly old London.
It's hideous.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Step back. Or maybe not. Is there anything else you want to show me?
I am Diana of Themyscira, daughter of Hippolyta. In the name of all that is good, your wrath upon this world is over.
Yep, that's not gonna work. Please put the sword down.
It doesn't go with the outfit.
At all.
So really quick, honestly, spoilers, guys. Like,
Lots
we're
of them.
breaking down this whole movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, we know it's not been in theaters long. This is the time not to be watching this video.
Right, you can watch it later. We do want you to watch us. Look at our faces, appreciate all of this, but do it after you see the movie. So, cut it off in 5, 4, you gone? No?
Okay.
Alright, you've asked for it. So, honestly, I tried not to have any real thoughts when I went into this. I didn't want to see a lot of the trailers. I wanted to go into it blind and really be able to appreciate it. And I did. I really appreciated this movie for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, let's just throw this out there. With all of the shit that was given for reasons why Gal would not be a great Diana, she knocked it out of the park.
It's like she proved to everyone, oh no, my boobs were too small. Let me show you why I deserve this. Like, why I was the best casting. And because even in the beginning, you're kind of going, well, she says she does, for me, it's always about comic books. And she says, well, I didn't really read much about Wonder Woman. I'm like, when you don't know the character, it makes me worried.
But you know what?
Gosh.
She brought such life to that character. Let's just start with young Diana. The girl, Lily, who played young Diana, she's 8 years old. She is from the UK. And absolutely drew me in. She is every little girl looking at her mother, looking at her idols, her heroes, and just wanting to live up to that. The awe in her face, the bravery, the fierceness, just as an 8-year-old was fantastic. And I have to just give props to her for that. But to see that was amazing because you got to watch Diana grow. You got to see her on this island where she really didn't have anything that she needed to worry about and become this woman who really had these wonderful ideals. And I mean, they were. That nothing is perfect in the real world, but she didn't know that. It was, when this happens, here's what I'm supposed to do. So when you finally get to see her in the real world facing the awful reality that is war, it was just, she provided such heart for that role, and I absolutely appreciated everything, despite the fact that she didn't read the comics. She didn't need to have read the comics.
She didn't. And when you go back to little girl Lily, you said that what I loved about the relationship when the mom was like, no, I don't want you fighting, I want you to be, it wasn't of a mother saying no because you can't. It was no because you don't need to. It's like, you don't need to fight, because she was worried for her because she didn't want, the god of war to come and get her. And, it's like, so, but her aunts was like, look,
she was the realist.
You're going to have to learn to fight. And I love that moment, though. It wasn't a little girl being told you can't do it because you can't do it.
And once Robin Wright, who was in Santa Barbara, was in The Princess Bride, Forrest Gump, and now she is our another general as Antiope, who I just want to be her when I grow up. I mean, honestly, that character was amazing. Such a strong and fierce woman training this young girl. It wasn't that, again, that she can't do things. It's that we don't want you to have to.
Right.
But when she gets out into the real world and she's seeing all these other men going, no, you can't. You can't come into this war room and talk with us. You can't go out onto the battlefield. You're just a woman. She was raised with the mindset of, it's not that I can't, I have to. Yeah. If I see something wrong, I have to. And I love that that was touched on so many times throughout the movie. It wasn't that she was being told no, and she goes, oh, well, I keep hearing
never
this,
mind
I can't,
now.
And shying away from it. The most amazing scene in that entire thing was the one that was almost cut, when she'd been told, no, and she goes, climbing up that ladder.
I was actually in tears. Like, so when everyone's saying, the bombs are going off, and if you know your history, you know that these trenches were one of the worst parts of, like, that war, of the countless bodies always, and everyone just
shelling.
It just and just the PTSD that these soldiers received from that consistent bombing, that it was not unreasonable for Steve Trevor to be like, no, nobody's going over there. You don't understand. You haven't seen it. And she hadn't seen that. But I loved how she stood there, and it was a very Lord of the Rings moment for me when he goes, no man can cross this, and she takes her hair down, and she's like, almost like the helmet, and be like, I am no man, and she gets up the ladder, and I'm in tears. Like,
the fact that this woman rallied the troops, nobody for a year, they said, was going to go anywhere, and just the act of her going, somebody has to do it. Which seems to be the theme, like, somebody has to step up, somebody has to be brave, somebody has to say, no, this is enough, and stand up for those who aren't able to do that for themselves. I just felt like for a woman to be able to be the person to do all of that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking of beautiful, next topic I want to touch on, the sheer diversity in this cast. you have all of these beautiful women who are Amazons. And it's not just one race. It is not one ethnicity. It is not one body type. It ran the board with age. You had women with crow's feet. You had women with battle scars. And they were all fierce contenders and fighting. And that one scene on the beach, I think, was my number two.
I've never seen anything like that. So I was like, I know, because you sit there and you're like, and all of a sudden, all these women, like warriors, and they're all athletes. Like, all of these women were like, they did their own stunts. Like, there was nobody doing
fucking amazing,
standing on their horses and doing all of that. And of course, there's CGI, but 99% of that scene is these women fighting. And I'm sitting there like, I have never seen this.
And none of them were eye candy. None of them. And it's not to say that they weren't beautiful women, but when I say that none of them were eye candy, the costuming for this. You don't have women walking around with pushed up cleavage just for the sake of showing cleavage or the sake of showing leg. Everything that they were wearing seemed to be reasonable for what you would want a warrior to be wearing.
Yeah.
Which was just amazing. And I think one of the things that I read that people have been really pointing out, and I say people, honestly, let's be honest about it, that women have been pointing out is when Diana does her superhero landing. Somebody posted, her thigh jiggled.
Right.
It was muscle. Her thigh jiggled. It was natural. You know, all this. So she doesn't have big enough boobs and she's too skinny. Girl had gorgeous arms. They were all just, it seemed to be exactly what, as a woman, I wanted to see in another superhero.
Right.
In my female superhero.
I agree, and going back to your statement with the diversity, I mean, for Diana's, like, her group, we had a Scotsman, we had
First Nations,
we had Arab, and a white guy, and all of them worked well together. Like, and we had talked about this before. Like, they all had internal issues. They all had problems, but they worked as a team, and it didn't matter what race they were or what their past was. That they worked together and they fought together and they were one team.
Yeah, and how awesome is it that they gave everybody their own moments to shine? I mean, even in something as simple as, Chief speaking in Blackfoot, which was amazing, and nobody would have known that. I mean, unless you actually spoke that language. It wasn't anything that they put out there, but it was like this special moment for really a people who have been marginalized greatly to have that in such a big movie. That was just awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And I had a conversation with a friend about this, actually, but like with Charlie, who was the sniper who couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, what a useless character that was. Like, my friend was like, I just don't understand why he was there. He was useless. And I'm a military brat, and I work for the military health system. That's my day job. That's what pays my bills. But I see PTSD all the time. I know the statistics of it, and being someone both my parents were in the military, it's one of the biggest things that nobody's mental health, and it's something that our country just never wants to talk about. And I love that it was in this film, as the mental health part of it. Of he couldn't shoot because of all he had been through, and the noise and the nightmare part was one of those moments I wanted just to wrap him around in a towel, like in a blanket or anything, and just hold him, because you knew he saw something. You knew, like, even the small little moment of somebody who has experienced PTSD in their life. Yeah. There were probably soldiers sitting in that film going, I totally got that. I totally feel this man. And I think one of the most underestimated moments is when Diana's like, who will sing for me? And it was his voice. Yeah. And he was that calmness before the storm, and he had a storm inside of him. So I think Charlie had a way bigger part than people gave him.
This movie really did touch on a lot of different social issues. I mean, you have Chief, who makes the comment about, what's going, who was fighting your people, and your land being taken from you, and he points to Steve and says, his people did it, and I think that's a moment for Diana in there.
Like, how are you friends?
Yeah, but I mean, to even acknowledge that, because again, in this day and age, that's not always something that's acknowledged. and then Samir talking about wanting to be an actor, but he wasn't the right color, was one of those moments where I audibly went, oh, in the movie, because it was heartbreaking, because it still holds so true today.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I work in film, and it's one of those things that I see consistently is, if you're, honestly, if you're not the right color, if you're not the right size, you know, your boobs. I mean, look at Gal, where they looked at her boobs. Everyone was like, well, her boobs are too small. Obviously, she can't be a good actor. It's like, if people do that with the color, they do that with age. I mean, women get screwed over all the time because of how old they are. Like, I know IMDb, which is where all of the actors' profiles go on, women have requested that their ages be taken off, so they're taken serious. That's awful. And the fact that Samir, he said that moment, I was like, what a wake up call to Hollywood. It was, I wouldn't say a jab, but kind of a woke moment for them of saying, hey, I know you said I couldn't be an actor because of my color, but obviously I can be.
So, I mean, really, I think this just all goes back to touching on how amazing this cast was, how beautifully diverse they were all around. Couple moments that I was a little iffy on.
Yeah, I mean, the movie wasn't perfect. No, I wouldn't say that.
I wasn't overly thrilled with Ares. I was definitely shocked when we found out who Ares was. Like, I did not see that coming at all. I just did not like the direction that they took it, and I kind of felt like it took away from some of the moments what they were really trying to show. You know, man doesn't... Getting rid of one thing doesn't necessarily mean that man is going to be totally fine. He still has his flaws and his faults, and he is always going to have his flaws and his faults, and is looking for the good in people and believing in people. That really is what matters. And so for them to come in and say, okay, well, yes, if we kill Ares, then everything should be better. And she realizes that it's not necessarily going to be better. I mean, I get where they were going with the continuity and the development of character with that. I wasn't overly thrilled with the final battle.
Yeah, I was like, there's really like 3 arcs for me. It was like the first in the island, and then the no man's land, and there's the whole god, and the end with the Germans fight. And I think what kind of got me at the end was, oh, we have a Steve from Captain America and a Steve from Wonder Woman, and they both crash a plane. I was like, this seems very familiar. I'm getting a deja vu moment.
It's another movie about, you know, the World War, the war to end all wars, but, you know, I mean, really, they did a good enough job, I feel, in differentiating Steve Trevor from Steve Rogers.
Yeah. Because you're right, because Steve in Captain America was so pure, like jumping on hand grenades, and then we have Steve Trevor, who's an asshole.
He's like, I'm a spy. I lie for a living. Like, that's what I do. I lie. Yeah. But I just felt like there was something that was lacking at the very end of that for me, and that's really one of the few things that I have negative to say about the movie.
Yeah,
I think overall,
to me is I think it was the best thing. It was such. I read an article that said Wonder Woman has saved the DC universe and doomed it, because at the same time you saved it, but how are all the other movies going to ever match that? Because now with Wonder Woman getting pulled into Justice League and all of this, will they respect Wonder Woman the way that Miss Jenkins did?
And if they do a sequel, I really hope to God that they keep Patty Jenkins as
they have to
director,
keep
because
Patty.
she did a fantastic job. This is the first DC hero movie that we have that hasn't been dark and gritty. Like, you saw vibrant color in this. You saw life in this. There was humor in this that we didn't necessarily see in some of these other films. But, you know, now the question becomes, so where do we go? What villains do we have her dealing with now? Now that Ares is gone, what's going to happen with Dr. Poison? Is she going to come back, or is she just gone for good? Are we going to see Cersei or Cheetah as the new villain? And what is that story arc going to be like? I think they said it's going to definitely take place more modern
times.
day.
Yeah, that's what I just read yesterday.
Awesome.
And it was saying sequel's already been greenlit, so I was like, well, no shit. Yes. But I'm excited. But one little tidbit I want to make sure we don't forget mentioning is as a female, and nobody is, I mean, I haven't experienced this, but can you imagine doing that film 5 months pregnant?
Oh my god.
So if you didn't know, Gal was pregnant.
Yeah.
5 months. And when she came back to do the reshoots, they had to green screen her belly because it was so big so she could reshoot. So not only was she, her boobs were too small, but she was a badass. I mean, she's been an Israeli soldier, and she was 5 months pregnant making this movie. It was like every woman to be like...
Did you also know that she was Miss Israel? That her mom, in between the time that she graduated from school and before her mandatory service in the Israeli Armed Forces, her mom signed her up to do some pageants. And she really wasn't thinking anything was going to happen from it. And then she won. So when they went to do, like, the Miss Universe, she purposely was showing up late.
She said she was so naughty.
Yeah, she's like, I was showing up late. I was wearing the wrong thing. I just didn't care. I didn't want to win, which... kind of just goes to, again, show how humble she is. And, I mean, truly, with as much shit as she got, I cannot, for the life of me, envision anybody else having been in this role for this movie anymore. She absolutely nailed it flawlessly. Just her characterization, her embodiment of who Diana is and who I think we all kind of aspire to be. Because this was a movie where it wasn't just women going, oh, I want to be her, I could be her. Guys, I know y'all have seen that video. Guys going,
like, I want to be Wonder Woman.
Her. She did fantastic. And that's what a superhero movie should be about. That's what the ultimate goal should be. It shouldn't be about, oh, well, this is, a female superhero. No, this is a superhero. This is a superhero movie where the hero was a good-hearted, badass who just did some incredible things, and I want to see more of that. I do, because, man, let me tell you, when I want to be Captain America, I want to be Iron Man, I want to be Thor, but I know I'm not worthy of the hammer. I know. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. But I did love seeing all those videos of the guys kind of going, what I would be like. I'm like, I want to be Captain America. And the guys were like, I want to be Wonder Woman. Because I think they saw such a beauty of her character. They were like, we don't care if she has ovaries. We just really want to be like her. They weren't saying, I want to be a girl. They were just saying, I want to be somebody who is that badass, that cares for people. I saw Chris Pine was in an interview. I don't know when it was, but I saw it today saying... He says when men kind of fight, they're like, it's all about revenge. It's all about this, back and forth. He says when he saw the film, he was like, it was so beautiful to see having a female character. Being female, we have a little bit more compassion. We have a little bit more, and how that manifested into her spirit into the film. He said he loved it. He was like, he wasn't expecting that. Yeah, and I know I've told this story before, but just to kind of reiterate and wrap up just how amazing this movie was. When I went to go see it for the first time in theaters, I got really frustrated at first because of a family sitting directly behind us who was talking throughout the entire of the movie. But what I came to realize after I sat and actually listened to what they were saying was that there was a family, a father and 2 daughters, and the daughters did not speak English. And so what the father was doing the entire time was translating into Spanish what was going on and what was being said on the screen. And I think that just speaks volumes to who Wonder Woman is as a character and what she embodies and what she means to so many people, that he would take his family, even though they didn't understand what was going on. It was important enough for him to take his daughters to see this on an opening Thursday night so that they could really get this experience and be able to enjoy and appreciate and just live in the moment like the rest of us did.
Right.
And when I realized what was happening, like, my heart just, it exploded. Like, it was just amazing. So this is an important film for a lot of reasons.
So if you have daughters, you have nieces, you have your mom, your sisters, if you have even the men should, just go. It's grab as many people as you can and see this movie. Like, forget that it's a comic book movie and take it for what it is, of something we have never seen, is a female character being truly represented in a way of not over-sexualized, that she's a badass and that she can, and nobody's going to tell her no. So I just go to the damn movie.
Go to the damn movie.